Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Neville Goddard podcast. So, the request was really simple, but it was really heartfelt. Mr. 20, how can I manifest a text? If you've ever been there, I will guarantee that you've never heard this as the answer, and it worked within 24 hours. And I can tell you this is a massive game changer. So if you want to manifest a text, and you want results within 24 hours, this is the podcast episode for you. Listen closely, take notes the second time you listen, and join us in ManifestingMasteryCourse.com. Let's dive into the podcast. Alrighty, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Neville Goddard podcast. I think we're doing it twice for this episode. Ready? Mr. 20, how do I manifest a text? You know, my standard answer for this is pretty simple. My guess is it's not the text that you want. My guess is you're imagining you want a text for a reason, to be in a relationship, to get good news. My question is, how do you let it be all about you? Because instead of manifesting a text, you see, I was working with a guy a couple weeks ago, Dream Driven Day member. And he told me, he said, Mr. 20, I just got to admit, I want a text. And we explored why. And what it came down to is how he felt about someone. And he wanted to know how they felt about him. So I told him, I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine going to bed feeling 100% satisfied with this. And he's done some trainings with us. He's done ManifestingMasteryCourse.com. He's doing Triple D. Done Triple D, rather. And I told him, I said, I just want you to go to bed satisfied. I want you to imagine going to bed satisfied with this relationship. So it wasn't more than 24 hours later, he's got a knock on the door. Surprise visit. Right? From someone that lives 3 hours away. Happened to be, quote unquote, passing through. See, I just love this stuff, because if it was about the text, if we're making it about a text, the visit wouldn't have happened. If we made it about them saying a specific thing, there would have been resistance. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten emails from people that get this, because if you're feeling resistance and they're feeling resistance, what you're manifesting up is resistance. Notice what you feel whenever you manifest something up. On the other hand, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to bed feeling satisfied about this relationship. That's it. I love satisfied manifesting because it implies heaps. And it's so much more better than happy, right? The way most people do happy, it feels forced. But satisfied is something you can settle into in the most lovely way. And when I say settle into, I mean surrender to, because at the end of every podcast episode, I feel two things: accomplished and satisfied. And so, we'll just call him DDD Dan. When DDD Dan the man, moves into the feeling of satisfied, falling asleep satisfied with this relationship, he gets a surprise visit. Instead of a forced text. And you know what happens after the visit? He's satisfied. This is a game changer, folks. Why would you settle for a text? Because when you settle for a text, you have to manifest up another text. And you have to make it a text that makes you happy about what they said. A text that's non-ambiguous. You know, one thing I've noticed, I had a buddy who was a massive emailer. And he told me the problem with the internet, the problem with texts, the problem with emails, is they can always be misread. You ever get one of them? You manifest up a text and it doesn't say exactly what you wanted, but it could mean what you want, but it could mean something else. And then you start adding meaning in. Manifesting Mastery Course Week 1, all about demolishing meanings, because you will drive yourself nuts with meanings until you stop. That's why we put an end at meanings and triggers in Week 1. Crass commercial over. But it's the tiny little things like this, gang. Again, what do you want? Do you really want a text? And do you want it to say something very specific? God, that just creates force. Maybe you've noticed it. Maybe you haven't. I promise you, you will if you keep trying that. On the other hand, ready? Go to bed satisfied. Imagine going to bed satisfied with this relationship. You get that's what I do. I go to bed 100% satisfied with my relationship with Victoria. I go to bed 100% satisfied with my relationships with my clients and friends. Because if a relationship isn't satisfying you, if you're not satisfied with it, it's going to be on your mind in a way that's not fun. If you got gold today, join us at manifestingmasterycourse.com. Week 1, we totally take care of triggers. We take care of meanings. Because when you start imagining meanings and you start giving yourself triggers that take you out of states, you're going to start to try to do battle in the mind. And I'm not a fan of that. We want you to start manifesting what really matters to you and have fun doing it. So if you got gold, join us at manifestingmasterycourse.com. Have a lovely day. God, what a beautiful day it is in Melbourne, Australia. See ya.